Good morning, people online. It's not even 9 a.m. and it's already been a fucking day. I woke up this morning, and of course, the first thing I do after like laying in bed for a little bit is I check my phone. And so I checked my phone, and Walmart. I was supposed to be getting my tires installed today, and they've canceled my appointment, which is shitty. But it's even shittier because this is the third time they've done this to me, and I just was like, ah. So I had my first appointment was on Friday, last week. Today's Wednesday. I had made that appointment like a week in advance because it was the only day that I had like time to go and do it during the day. But so they canceled that one. So I'm like, okay, I'll reschedule for Sunday because the tires hadn't got there yet. Which I know is not anyone's fault, but it's just frustrating. Like I'm not angry at anyone. I'm just frustrated, right? And so yeah. So today they said that the tires wouldn't get there until after January 1st, and I was like, okay, so I tried to cancel it on the app because I was like, I'll just cancel the tires and go to like a Walmart in person, maybe buy like slightly more expensive tires if I have to. But like one of these Walmarts in this city has to have tires for a Honda Civic. It's not an unusual car, you know? So try to cancel it online. And the AI, like, I love AI unless I'm forced to talk to AI. I wanted to talk to a person. So like I'm like going through the automated responses with the AI, just getting increasingly more frustrated with each one that is not working for me. And I just keep pressing like, it's something else. It's something else. And finally I'm like, I need to speak to a person. So I don't even want to do it over text anymore because I'm fed up with it. So I'm like, just have them like call me. So I wait and they call me, and I actually talked to this really nice person in customer service. He was like super kind and polite and helpful, and I just let him know, I'm like, hey, like, this is the third time you guys have canceled my appointment. I don't want it anymore. Like, I don't want those tires. They're not gonna be here till the new year, and I need new tires really like last month. But you know, like my tires are like eggs. Like, they need to be replaced, especially because it's all rainy now, and we're gonna probably have ice soon. So like, I need these tires before the new year. So yeah, he canceled them for me, and I don't know if maybe it's because we're like a Walmart Plus member, or if because maybe I sounded upset. But he gave us a $10 off coupon too, so I was like, thank you so much. I almost said you don't have to do that, but then I thought, no, I don't want to tell him that. He can do that. It's $10. I'll take it. Like, but yeah, so that was what I was going through in the morning. Like, I was on the phone with this guy, like, while I was going to the bathroom in the morning, because I was just like, I started doing this as soon as I checked my phone and woke up, because I was just like, oh my god, here it goes. Like, because that was my main plan today after therapy, was to go get my tires changed, and I was gonna probably walk around Walmart, peruse the clearance section, and maybe buy something to eat, and sit down and wait, you know, for the tires to be done. But yeah, so that got canceled today. Instead, now after therapy, I'm going to go to like every Walmart I can and see if they have the tires that I need, and just if they have like availability for a walk-in. Or like an appointment this year would be cool. But literally, like, I made time today, and this was kind of like the last day I really have available to go sit there for like an hour, because I mean, unless I can go on a weekend and have my dad, like, take me back home for an hour or something. But even still, really, I only get, like, 30 minutes at home, because it's going to be, like, 15 minutes back and then 15 minutes there to pick it up. So it's, like, which is dumb. But, yeah. So that was how the morning started, and I get through it. You know, I get it handled. I, like, am going to the bathroom and brushing my teeth and my hair while I'm on the phone with this guy trying to like cancel these tires that aren't going to come here till the new year. And I get through it though. I go downstairs, I make Aiden's lunch, get myself some coffee, we're chit-chatting and stuff, and then my dad comes down and he's like, do you still use Prodigy, Aiden? And if you guys don't know, Prodigy is like this website / app for kids. It's like an educational game. You can choose like math or English as the subject, and it like has these fun games with questions that help them learn, right? Last year, one of Aiden's Christmas presents was to get Prodigy for a whole year, like, because that's how you buy the memberships. It's like a year membership. And so he used it, probably up until like, I don't know, maybe like over the summer or something. So, he used about 6 months of the year-long gift, but then he kind of got out of it, wasn't interested in it as much. I think maybe his skill level has kind of surpassed what they offer there for, I'm not sure, but he just kind of got bored with it. But apparently they had auto renew on the membership, and it's not like it's expensive, but it's kind of a lot. It's $100 for a whole year, which is less than $10 a month, which is not bad, but still, like, that $100 charge is kind of like a lot to be charged for something you're not using, right? And plus we don't want it for another year. He doesn't really use it anymore. He's kind of over it, and he would rather have that $100 for like V-Bucks or something, because he's a little teenager. But so I don't know if any of my parent friends will understand, but like, for Lindbergh, like, you have to, the kids have their own like email address for their iPads and everything. Like, this is just a different world, I guess, to live in than when I went to elementary school. At least I didn't even have a laptop in high school. Like, they didn't give me a laptop or an iPad in high school. Like, we had the computer carts with the like MacBooks that we could check out and borrow, but usually just like in school. We didn't take them home, I think you had to like make special accommodations if you took a laptop home, But now here they are, like, 4th grade, bringing home their iPads every night. And so yeah, he's got a Gmail account, which is then hooked up to Clever, which is like a server website thing that like teachers will use for their whole classroom, right? So the kids can sign into their Clever account, and from there you can access a bunch of different apps. And one of those apps, websites, whatever, that you can access is Prodigy. And so Aiden liked this game from school, and this is why we like bought this for him for a Christmas present last year. I try to log into Prodigy. I go to the Prodigy website. I Google it, find the website. I gotta log in as like a parent. It's not hooked up to my Gmail account. Okay, so I try my regular email account. It's not hooked up to that. I don't have another email address that I like use for things. I mean, I have some like old email, but I don't think I even know how to get into those, But I definitely didn't use them to sign up last year for anything. So I'm like, okay, I guess I don't have a parent account. So I try to sign in as a child, but I can't sign into it because my son doesn't remember the password, because the way he gets onto it is through Clever. So I try to get onto Clever on my phone, and I don't have a password or account saved for that either. And I'm like, I try all my different combinations. I've got like 5 main passwords, and then I have multiple variations of those. So I tried about like, I don't know, like 15 or 20 different passwords with 2 different emails, which is, like about 100 tries basically. And I gave up. I was like so angry for both of these websites. I tried so many different combinations, and it took all morning pretty much of just trying to like figure out how to get in here so I could cancel the auto renew and like talk about like a refund, because they can look at like the logs. We haven't used it, and I don't think that's like fair. Or we could like pause the membership or something, and then like, since we already paid for a year, if he decides like later that he wants it, we can reinstate it and he can get a year from there. I don't know. But I can't even get into the account. I tried sending the emails, the like forgot your password. I didn't get any emails to either of my email addresses, so that leads me to believe I don't have an account with them. I checked my junk folders. I did try sending to Aiden's school email and then the Gmail account I made him to go on his phone. I haven't checked if he has emails yet. We'll do that when he gets home, because I just anyway, I'm getting stressed out just like talking about it again. But yeah, so it hasn't been a great morning. It's been really stressful, and I wanted to get it out there and like just talk about it and kind of work my way through how to not let this ruin my day mentally. Because I was pretty upset, like, up until I started talking. I was very upset, and it's hard when you have to like hold it in around your kids, because it's like, it's not their fault that you're upset, but you're really upset. And so having to like restrain yourself, because you don't want to take out your bad mood on your children ever. Like, I think if you're a good parent, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen sometimes, because everyone's human and sometimes people can't help, they make mistakes, and that's why it's a mistake. They didn't mean to. But today, I was holding it in and stuff, and it was just, I think that made it even more amplified feeling, not being able to like vent and like bitch about it, because I didn't want to let that spill over to people in my life that didn't deserve it. So yeah, I think this whole process for me is just really informative of how relieving it can be to just talk about what's frustrating you, and it doesn't even have to be to like anyone in particular, just getting it out there for yourself. At least for me, this has been like a really good coping strategy. And so yeah, I think if you've had a really rough start to your day, take a second, take 10 minutes to just vent about it like you're talking to someone who cares. And it doesn't matter if no one ever listens or hears it, because it's not about them. Really, it's about you. And I don't feel so tense anymore. I can feel that my heart rate has slowed down, and like it's good. I think this is a much healthier way than either keeping it in or letting it out on the people around you. Is like that kind of middle ground of like knowing when to restrain yourself and then knowing when to like let go and just validate your own experience that like, yes, this is unpleasant. And I think that's what a lot of people who have these really strong emotional reactions are actually not doing for themselves, is emotionally validating that, yeah, they have these feelings and it's not bad or it's not shameful and it doesn't need to change. It just is. And like fully embracing that isness of it. Like, here it is. Feel it. And so, yeah, I really am thankful to my therapist for helping me with this kind of like cognitive behavioral therapy. A lot of it is kind of just like becoming aware of how you think and how your brain works, and like rerouting it when it's not working for you. I don't know, I've been calling it brain hacking, and this is one of honestly the most helpful, I mean, I can't even rank them, but one of the most helpful like brain hacks for me has just been like, when I'm feeling all these emotions, instead of like trying to bury them or trying to feel them before I have time to process like what they are even, and just like act on it, like rather like I let myself act on the feeling rather than processing them and then taking action after I process the feeling, which is hard to do, really. And I mean, if it's hard for adults, you have to think about how difficult that's going to be for children too, but also the sooner we teach them, the better they'll get good at it, because the more practice they'll have had. But yeah, I think it's been great being in cognitive behavioral therapy, because it's giving me tools to also better help not only myself but as a parent, like, which is a really important part of my life to me, obviously. And being a good parent makes me feel better about myself as well. Being able to help him helps me in a way. And even if that sounds selfish, it's true, but I think it's kind of like the symbiotic relationships, that parent-child dynamic kind of is cyclical, where like obviously parent takes care of child, but in turn child helps parent evolve in a way. And so it's mutually beneficial, or it can be. Obviously not every parent-child relationship is like that. But yeah, working through your emotions, just talking them out and validating them for yourself, not for anyone else, is what's gonna help in those moments where you just want to shove things down and get over it or whatever. But the funny part is you can't get over it until you get in it first. It's like you don't just hop over, you gotta go through it. And yeah, that's the tragic beauty of it all. I hope people have a better day, and like I said, if your day started off really crappy like mine, where it's like, oh yeah, third time my tire installation gets canceled, and now charged $100 for a game that hasn't been used in like half a year. Fun stuff. Yeah, also first world problems. But I can recognize my own privilege. But yeah, just talk it out. Let yourself have that moment to yourself of validating what you went through, story timing it, and, you know, validating your own perception of your emotions. And I think that helps us be less reactive to emotions, and once we've processed them, we can better choose the action that will help us rather than hurt us, you know. I had a therapist once tell me that emotions are kind of like kids on a bus, right? They're great. Kids are great, right? You're the school bus driver. You're doing this to help them. They're here for you. You know, it's a good time. But you wouldn't let the kids drive the bus, right? You're the bus driver. You're the adult. It's not their place to drive, and you know that. And even if they don't know that, you know that. And so with emotions, it is not their place to drive the bus, because we're gonna drive off the road, like, or off a cliff or something. Kids aren't supposed to drive, you know. And depending on how in touch you are with your emotions, it's kind of like depending on how old these kids are, you know. Sometimes you're gonna have emotion kids that fight you for the wheel, but you have to hold on and know that if I'm not in charge, it's bad for all of us, you know. And it's about, you know, keeping every part of you in check while also not invalidating yourself. Like, if you were the bus driver, you wouldn't, like, if you're a good bus driver, you're not like cursing out the kids and telling them they need to sit their ass down and hitting them and stuff, you know. You're gonna come to some agreement. Bribery might be involved, because that kind of works with kids. But, you know, you're gonna figure something more beneficial out. And likewise, we can do that with our emotions. If we yell at our emotions and tell them to shut up, well, it's going to be a little traumatizing for them, because they're not being heard or expressed. You really have to think of your emotions like a little kid. And we wouldn't do that to a little kid. So why am I going to do that to my emotions, right? And you also, like I said, don't let them drive the bus, and you don't want them hanging out the window, you know, mooning people. You got to keep them in check. And that means when they're having problems, you have to listen to them, because that's what you do with little kids, right? Little kids that aren't listened to, they act out because they need attention. They need someone to ask what's wrong. And they don't know how to tell people what's wrong without being asked, because they're children, right? I mean, it's also largely dependent on personality, of course. Some kids are very outspoken about what's wrong, and good for them. But not every kid's like that. And so, yeah, being able to listen to your emotions when something is amiss, and say, like, okay, what's happening here? Where's the thorn in the paw, so I can get it out, you know? And that way, once the issue is resolved, that emotion can go sit in the bus and, you know, play hand clappy games with their friend or something. You know? And then it's a copacetic ride for everyone. And that's the goal of life, I think, is we're all on this ride, right? And we get to choose where we're driving, you know, what path we take, if it's bumpy, if it's smooth. And not always, we don't always get to pick the path, but we do get to choose how we drive on the path, what we're doing with the emotion kids in the back, and all the other variables that happens while we're on this journey. But overall, it doesn't really matter where we end up, because the secret is we're all going to the same place at the end. And we don't quite know what it is. No one's really got proof. But that's where we all go at the end. That's the end destination for every single human. So it's not about where we get to. It's about how we arrive. How we are during our ride there. Are we having a good time? Is it a fun road trip? Or are we, like, fighting everyone for the wheel and driving off the road and tumbling and having to replace the car? You know, like, we have some degree of freedom over our experiences. Now, granted, that does not ever mean we're in control of external stimuli. I can't change the weather or make people nicer or, you know, anything like that. I can't control people's biases or any of that. But I do get to control what I allow into my life, because I there's so much in the world that I'm not experiencing right now. Like, I was having this conversation with Aiden. I'm like, you know, penguins exist all the time, but I don't think about them hardly ever. but that doesn't make them any less real. So in life, things exist, even if we are aware of them or not. But we get to choose what we focus on and what we're aware of, and that is what our lives consist of. Because all these things exist. Penguins exist, and giraffe, and those big, like, man-eating plants. But I don't interact with any of those in daily life, so I don't think of them. They're not really part of my life. They're part of life, but not my life. And so that's kind of the beauty of, you know, the separation of consciousness in everyone, is that we get to have our own experience, and together it makes up the totality of life here, you know. But yeah, what we focus on is what our world becomes part of. And so with my healing journey, really just focusing on like solutions and control, and like genuine control and power over myself, this has made my life more full of this power and control over myself, if that makes sense. It's like when you see a yellow buggy, and now you start seeing yellow buggies everywhere. It's because your mind's looking for that. It's tuned in. And similarly, we can tune in to things that will help us as well. And we can also tune in unconsciously to things that hurt us, you know, things like addiction and stuff like that. We can tune into these really negative coping skills, because that's what we're looking for. You know, that's what's comfortable to us. That's what we're seeking. And I know a lot of people in the New Age community talk about manifesting your reality, and it's kind of like that, but I think they're like less realistic with a lot of the people I've talked to. It's not about like calling things out of nothingness or thin air and like just making it appear. It's about you manifest in your life by choosing what you focus on and what you tune into. So I think people, obviously I'm not successful, so maybe I don't know, but I feel like a lot of people who are successful in life, whether financially, socially, whatever, it's because that was their passion, that was their focus, that was what life was for them. And so when your life is looking for these opportunities in the finance world or in the acting industry or music or, you know, something big, well, that's all your life is. So you're going to look for all the opportunities. You're going to find more than someone who's just partially in it, you know? And so, yeah, I think that's just even more testament to the reality of manifestation in a way, but just kind of human programming in the brain, I guess. Like when we're checked into something, like looking for it, we find it. Humans are really great at finding patterns. That's how we make sense of the world. And it just, you know, it's just kind of how life is. And you can recognize it and consciously tune into what you want, or you can stay unaware and allow yourself to be subconsciously tuned in to what you think you want, but what is probably causing you misery. And I only know this because I've done that, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, even if you're in it. It's just something to be aware of, because you can change it. So, I mean, if you're fine living miserably, have fun. I was not. So I realized I had to do something different. You know, if you want a life that you've never had, you have to do things you've never done, because clearly all the things you've done now have not led to the life that you've never had. It's led to the life you do have. So that's just kind of like logic 101, right? You want something you don't have, do something you've never done. So yeah, I've kind of ranted and rambled, and I am just gonna leave it at this because this video is like 20 something minutes long, so my bad. I hope y'all have a great day, and talk it out with yourself. Validate your emotions and focus on what you want your reality to be, really, at the end of the day. That's what I've come to the conclusion of in this video creation, is I get to have the day I choose. I was given a shit day. I'm not going to choose that, though. I accept it happened. I'm not trying to change it or anything. I experienced it, and then I handled it. Well, I haven't handled the prodigy thing. I'm waiting till after school. And I think I need Aiden's help. But, yeah, so I did what I could, though. I accepted what was in my control, and I also accepted what was not in my control. Like, I don't know my son's passwords to his emails. I don't know him, so he's gonna have to help me. So I did what I could. I got to where I could, and it is what it is. I can always, call a number 2 and wait for, like, 30 minutes to talk to someone if it really comes down to that. So I don't feel hopeless right now. I don't feel stressed anymore because I had that stress. I experienced it. I didn't take it out on the people around me, and I instead worked through it in a healthy way and processed it logically. And I'm happy now. Like, I feel good right now. I don't know. It is like magic to me, and I know it's so simple and probably seems like really obvious and no duh to people, but I didn't understand this for a really long time. I had no emotional intelligence for most of my life, to be perfectly honest. I was very unaware of myself, my emotions, and that people were just like me. I really thought no one understood me and I was different, and that was very isolating. And if you feel that way, just know that our feelings are not always the truth. The truth, the objective truth, is that everyone's a me in their head, right? You refer to yourself as I, me. That's everyone. So all those me thoughts you've had, other people have probably had those too. The exact same ones. We're always far less alone than we realize. We're more connected than I think the common people really understand, than I really understand. We're more connected than I understand. But I know it to be true. So yeah. Have the day you choose, right? Bye.